Euronymous. The very name evokes a sense of mystery, of something ancient and unknowable. Unlike the well-defined figures of Greek myth or Norse legend, Euronymous emerges from the shadows, his origins shrouded in obscurity. He is often referred to as a prince of hell, a title that speaks to power and dominion. But over what realm does he preside? What is the nature of his infernal reign? Our journey begins not with ancient texts or crumbling scrolls, but with whispers and speculation. Euronymous is a figure of the shadows, his story told not in grand epics, but in hushed tones and fragmented lore. He is a being defined not by divine decree, but by the fears and fascinations of those who dare to speak his name. His association with the consumption of corpses further deepens the enigma. What does this macabre practice signify? Is it a grotesque display of power, or is there a deeper, more symbolic meaning to this act? To understand Euronymous, we must first seek to understand the very concept of death itself, as it has been perceived across cultures and throughout history. Only then can we begin to unravel the enigma that is Euronymous. Death, the ultimate unknown, has captivated and terrified humanity since the dawn of consciousness. Every culture, from the ancient Egyptians to the indigenous tribes of the Amazon, has grappled with its mysteries, creating elaborate mythologies and rituals to explain and honor its presence. In the underworld of Greek myth we encounter Hades, a figure often depicted as stern, but not inherently evil. He rules the realm of the dead, a place of shadows and silence. The Hindu god Yama serves as both the god of death and the lord of Dharma, maintaining cosmic order and balance. He is not a figure to be feared, but rather a guide who ushers souls into the afterlife. These diverse beliefs reflect the spectrum of human emotions associated with death: fear, acceptance, reverence, and even, in some cases, a sense of anticipation for what lies beyond. Euronymous' title, Prince of Hell, places him within the hierarchy of infernal beings. The concept of a structured underworld, often with a supreme ruler and various ranks of demonic entities, appears in numerous religious and mythological traditions. In Christian demonology, Lucifer, once the angel of light, reigns supreme in hell, cast down from heaven for his rebellion against God. Beelzebub, often depicted as a grotesque fly-like demon, is another prominent figure in the infernal court associated with gluttony and temptation. Euronymous' specific position within this hierarchy remains unclear, adding to the air of mystery surrounding him. Is he a powerful lieutenant, carrying out the will of a higher being? Or does he operate independently, his power rivaling even that of the most formidable infernal entities? The lack of definitive answers only fuels the intrigue, inviting us to speculate on the true nature and extent of Euronymous' infernal dominion. Section 4, Consuming Decay, Embracing Renewal. The image of Euronymous feeding on corpses is undoubtedly unsettling, but it's important to remember that symbolism often transcends literal interpretation. In many cultures, death is not viewed as an end but rather as a transformation, a transition to another state of being. The act of consuming the dead, then, could be seen as a symbolic representation of this cycle of death and rebirth. Just as the earth absorbs decaying matter, nourishing new life, so too might Euronymous embody this principle of renewal through consumption. The corpse, a vessel of life now empty, becomes a source of sustenance, its essence fueling the continuation of the cycle. This perspective challenges us to look beyond the initial revulsion and consider the deeper meaning that might be hidden within this seemingly grotesque act. Perhaps Euronymous, far from being a monstrous figure of dread, embodies the very essence of nature's grand design, a cycle of death and renewal that ensures the continuation of life in all its forms. Section 5. Visualizing the Prince of Death. How might we visualize such an enigmatic figure? Traditional depictions of death often rely on skeletal imagery, emphasizing the physical process of decay, but Euronymous, with his regal title and air of mystery, demands a more nuanced approach. Perhaps he appears as a figure of imposing stature, cloaked in shadows, his face obscured by a hood or a veil. His eyes, however, burn with an unnatural light, hinting at the power that lies within. Instead of a skeletal frame, his form could be powerful and imposing, suggesting strength and dominion. He might be adorned with symbols of death and decay, bones, skulls, withered flowers, but these elements should be incorporated in a way that conveys a sense of majesty rather than outright horror. The key is to evoke a sense of awe and intrigue, allowing the viewer to project their own interpretations onto this enigmatic figure. Euronymous, after all, is a being defined by shadows and whispers, and it is in those shadows that his true nature resides.